Okay, in this lesson, we are using addition and subtraction to solve multi-step word problems involving length, mass, and capacity. We're going to start with one that involves grams. So this is in the problem set, and it's question number 1. Share my screen here. Okay, so we're going to start by looking at it, and first let's read it. It says the potato Beth bought weighed 3 kilograms, 420 grams. Her onions weighed 1,050 grams less than the potatoes. How much the potatoes and onions weigh together? So let's think about what kind of things we need to underline in this passage first. So let me see here. All right, so the potatoes Beth bought weighed 3 kilograms, 420 grams. Okay, and then her onions weighed 1,050 grams less than the potatoes. And then we are the information that the question part that we need to know is how much did the potatoes and onions weigh together? And together is a keyword right there in order to let you know what you're going to be doing with that information. So let's start by making a tape diagram. So we're going to put a box here, and then I'm going to write in. So the first information we were given was what? About her potatoes. So I'm going to put a P for the potatoes. Okay. And then what do we know about the potatoes? We know it was 3 kilograms. And 420 grams. Okay, and what was the other information that we needed from here? We know, so let's make another box. I'm gonna put it right here. It says her onions weighed 1,050 grams less than the potatoes. So whatever the onions weighed, we know it's smaller or less than the potatoes. So I'm going to make this one the onions. Whoops. Onions. Okay, and so we're trying to figure out what goes here, but what I do know is that this one is 1,050 grams less. So that's another key word right there, less than the potatoes. So when I hear less than, that makes me think, oh, I need to subtract in order to figure out how much the onions are. Because if they weigh this much less than the potatoes, then I've got to figure out how much they actually weighed. So let's start with that part. So we're going to write out the 3 kilograms and 420 grams, and those keywords less than. So we're going to be subtracting this 1,050 grams. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I see this number is bigger than or smaller than this number. So what I'm going to have to do, it's kind of like borrowing. We're going to convert one of our kilograms in order to make this work. So an easy way to do that is each of these there is okay, so I can borrow and I can change this to 2 kilograms. So how many grams is in a kilogram? 1,000. So now I have 1,420 grams instead of 420. I just moved it over here because I needed it to be more. So then I can say 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, I can't take 5 away from 2, so I'm going to borrow from the 4. That becomes a 3. This becomes 12. 12 minus 5, so that's 7. And then 3 minus 0 is 3. And 1 minus 1 is nothing, so 370 grams. And then I have to come back over here and then write down my 2 kilograms. Okay, so this is how much we know that the onions are. So I'm going to write that in here. So now we know the onions are 2 kilograms, 370 grams. But is that what the question is asking? Is it asking for the onions? Let's look back. The potatoes she bought weighed 3 kilograms, 420 grams. We know that. Her onions weighed 1,050 grams less than the potatoes, which we figured out that was 2 grams, 307 or 2 kilograms, 370 grams. So the question is, how much did the potatoes and onions weigh together? So what are we going to have to do? Here's the potatoes, here's the onions. We're trying to figure out those two answers together. So you're going to write your 3 kilograms, 420 grams, and you're adding that to the 2 kilograms, 370 grams. Okay, so let's add up the grams first. So we can do 0 plus 0 is 0, and 7 plus 2 is 9, 4 plus 3 is 7, and that's the grams. And then we can add our kilograms. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So I have 5 kilograms, 970 grams. So that answered the question of how much did the potatoes and onions weigh together? So if I had to write this answer out in a sentence, let me just get a little spot to do that. I could say the potatoes and onions weigh 5 kilogram, 790 gram all together. Okay, so another way that you could have done this is you could have taken this number right here, and knowing that there are 1,000, knowing that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram, you could have just changed this to 3,000 because that would be the same thing, right? It was 3,000. So if I have 3,000 and then I have 420 grams, I could have just went 3,420 grams. And I could have done this same subtraction here, but maybe a little bit faster, minus the 1,050. 0 minus 0, 0. Can't do that. Change it to a 12. Change this to 3. So this becomes 7. 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I got the same answer, but this time it's all in grams. So right now I could say the onions was 2,370 grams. And then the question was still how much did the potatoes and onions weigh together? So I could take those two numbers. Instead of saying 3 grams, 420, I could say 3,000, because we know 3 grams is 3,000. 420 plus the 2 grams is going to be 2,000. So 2,370. I could add those two together. And I get 5,790 grams, which is the same thing as 5 grams or 5 kilograms, 790 grams, because there's 5,000. So that's the 5 kilograms and then 790 grams. So either way, that would be the correct answer. But if I did it this way, I could write out my answer. The potatoes and onions weigh 5,790 grams.